Hello and welcome. I'm Carol DeChaine, and I am your intuitive, transformational life and business coach and multidimensional energy lightworker. Today, I'm going to be talking about health, about migraines. This whole month, I'm going to be talking about health. It's a 5-part series for this particular month, and the migraine can really stop you in your tracks. I have to admit, if you haven't had one, you might not have any sympathy for someone who has. Because sometimes people feel, you look at them and you go, are you faking it? Come on, we need to get something done. Or what's your problem? And I have to say, I was guilty of that because I was young. I never had that kind of a headache before. And it is a way big step beyond it. So if you're listening because you have migraines, you know sometimes you didn't have somebody with sympathy. And I apologize for all of us who've done that before. At one point, I did have a migraine. I got those wavy lines and I didn't know what they were. I was doing a lot of movement in very small air. I just moved to Colorado and I was doing the whiz, and I was doing a lot of up and down jumping and carrying on, and I got these weird wavy things on the side over here in the periphery of my vision, and I thought, well, didn't think about it much. Just thought, what's my problem? How come I can't see? Shortly after that, I went home because we were done with rehearsal and the play, and I ended up with a massive migraine, throwing up, rocking, sitting in bed, holding my head, turning all the lights out, trying to take aspirin, throwing that up. And so I understand just from that one time, I was like, okay, I apologized to my best friend who I know I gave a hard time to because she used to have them, and just said, oh my God. So at that point forward, I knew the difference between a migraine and a headache. Let's just put it that way. Somebody said, I have a migraine, and they're walking around without sunglasses. I'm going, no, you have a headache. It may be a bad headache, but you do not have the kind of migraine that debilitates you. And I want to talk about this because I know there are ways, and they have all sorts of ways now, that if it's an imbalance, if you're prone to them, that there's not just that happens. It may not be that always gets you. A lot of times there's that fear that you have even the tiniest headache and it's going to be a full-blown migraine. So you live with that fear because you think, I won't be able to do anything. I won't be able to go to work to see my kids play. I won't be able to go to that party for the Christmas party. The Thanksgiving dinner I cooked. I may have to be in bed over. Everybody else may enjoy it. Whatever it is, that fear lurks when you've had them before. I've also had the amazing ability at some point or other to start seeing those wavy lines and then saying, no, I am not going to go there. And I made a decision. I'm going to fight this. I'm going to find a way to not. I remember that one time I had it so bad. And what am I going to do? So, of course, I tried a number of different things because we do. But the one thing that seemed to work for me the most is to make sure I breathe a lot because I would hold my breath and get fearful. Lots of water, take a lot of that, and sometimes Excedrin seemed to do a little bit of good if I did it at the beginning because of the caffeine and everything. But the biggest thing is to realize that sometimes when you feel a migraine coming on and you have even a tiniest bit of a headache, the fear that you have, it might just be a seed this big of a headache, but the fear makes it seem bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So therefore, you do end up with that migraine when you may not always need to have it. If you breathe through it and decide, I'm not going to have fear, I'm going to have whatever happens, happens, but I am going to breathe through this. I'm going to have water. Maybe I need a nap immediately. Whatever it is that may help you work through it. I just find those two things were the biggest, just breathing and having water. Lots and lots and lots of water because the dehydration somehow, it must have been part of, at least with me, part of what it was. If it's an imbalance, of course, and you need pills and you need things to help get your body back in sync, that's different. But the fear that's there is also a big part of the migraines that we get. If you allow yourself to release that fear and say, I don't need to go there. Even if it is a migraine, it's just going to be what it's going to be. Maybe it won't be as bad. Maybe if I decide this doesn't have to be one and I make a decision, then maybe it won't be that bad. I realize that some people, and maybe most people who have migraines, just go with it and imagine that if they have any kind of issues at the beginning, it's just going to be a migraine. And you might be going, you haven't had enough of them to know. I totally get that. And I honor your reality. I honor what's happened to you because I know even that one time was more than enough for me to decide I'm never going through this again. I've had those wavy lines and those and the like the mini migraines where it's insistent and you feel like it's like or wherever you may hold it. But for me, it was always right here, and I'm going. Hmm. So I breathe through it. I have water. I think I mostly dealt with a Excedrin or two just to see if I could catch it. And most of the time, well, all the time, it never went into that huge, full blown migraine after the first time. But it did have like mini ones where I could still walk around, but I knew I had the wavy lines, so therefore it was some sort of a piece of that. And those are the ones that as soon as it comes up, then I start going, nope, not going to get it. I'm going to breathe. I'm going to take a moment. I'm not going to keep rushing around. Take the moment, either meditate, connect, do whatever you need to do to feel more centered, to get go of the fear that you may not even know is there. Unlayer it. I don't know if that's quite the right wording, but if usually when you have that seed of something, you layer upon layer upon layer, whether you're watering it with more fear, you're giving it more power to take away your life. When you have a seed for, I don't know, I'm looking at an African violet now. If you have a seed for that, that's what's going to grow. But only if you water it. If you don't water it, it could die before it gets to be the plant. So all I'm saying is that the seed of the migraine doesn't have to be a full-blown blossoming plant of migraine where it knocks you on your keister every single time, where you can't do anything. Even if that's always happened for you, know that if you can release that fear, raise your conscious and your vibration a little bit higher out of that fear, oh my God, this always happens to me. You may be surprised that it won't always be that full-blown, can't do anything migraine. If you always had those, talk to the doctor, get whatever you need to get to try different things to help it go away. But try this too. It doesn't cost you anything, and it may be the best part of it. So that maybe you get those migraines, but they're not as often because you let that fear go. You let go of the buildup that you have going, oh my God, I saw wavy lines. I can't see properly. I'm going to get the migraine. And then you go to bed immediately. If you do that, then maybe you also have water. You start breathing. You start raising higher. You start releasing some of the fear that's building up. And because the fear, all it does, the worry, the fear makes you tighter and makes you tenser. And it makes the headache worse no matter what kind of headache it would have been if you hadn't given it any power at all. The whole point is to relax more, to release that fear and see what happens. Like I said, it costs nothing, and it could shift and make your life so much better if you're willing to take those steps to just try and relax and release some of that fear and that power that you're giving that migraine over you. There's always going to be some, if you have it and it's part of an imbalance in your body, but it doesn't have to be every single one that you feel it coming on, that it is the worst thing. Just breathe through it. See what you can do for yourself beyond the doctors, especially if you've already been to doctors and it's not helping. Release, release, release. And I'll say it again, release that fear. It's the best thing you can do for yourself. Especially if you've already tried everything else, try that next. Because this is something that can make your life more of what you want, more of what is the best for you, so that you can be more present. Because pain, it takes you fully out of the present now, as in your life beyond the pain. All you feel is the pain. It screams your name and you're stuck. You don't want to be stuck. You want to be able to release that. Know that you can, you have that power. Find a way to get to that more relaxed state, that more empowered state of, I can release that fear and see what happens. See if the seed of the migraine goes away, or if it grows, but at least if you do that every time, pay attention. You may find that it gets less and less, or less frequent, less large, maybe less debilitating. See what works. It will cost you nothing, and it may mean everything for your life. Thank you for joining me here today. I'm Carol DeChaine. You can check me out. I'm brand new on Instagram under connect2joy.com. That's connect, the number 2, joy.com, which is also my website if you want to see more about the life coaching. And by all means, please subscribe to this channel. I put out 2 different videos every week. One all about connecting to your affirmations. I am affirmations for the Joy Corner, which is one tool you can use to get that subconscious moving more in the direction you want, and other informational videos. And I also have some, if you dig deep, of some guided visualizations that will help you really get down into even a deeper part of your subconscious to shift at depth. I think that's enough about me. Thanks so much for joining me. And until next week, please remember, you are already enough to have that joyful, limitless life that you desire.